everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. And I'm so excited to have you here. I'm Jen Garrett. If you don't know me, this is something I'm super passionate about. I am currently an Army judge advocate and a realtor with Christie's International Real Estate at Properties, Christie's International Real Estate. And I really am passionate about sharing with all of you this benefit that you have earned through your service, that being a VA home loan. And so I've got two of my great friends here, partners. They are awesome at the Proper Rate team. The Theriault-Fazio team, Joanne and Sam Fazio, are going to be with us to talk about the basics of VA home loans, what you need to know, the process, how to get started, things you should ask your lender, and all of that. We're located in Chicagoland. However, no matter where you are, we've got you covered. So please, please, please reach out to us anytime if you have questions. We are here to be a resource for you on the realty side with At Properties, Christie's International Real Estate. We are number 8 in the nation. We've got amazing experts across the US and the globe. So no matter where you're located, if you need help getting connected with someone in your area, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. And then Joanne and Sam are also licensed in many states. So they are here to be a resource. And so just know we are here to support you. And as I like to say, it takes a team to move the ball, and we're here to be on your team. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn this presentation over to Sam and Joanne, and they're going to take you through what you need to know about VA home loans.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks for having us today. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanne Theriault-Fazio, and as Jen mentioned, we're with Proper Rate, and I have the other half of my team. We're a husband and wife team, Sam Fazio, with me today, and we are also very passionate about helping veterans. We love the VA loan. It's a great program. We're here to tell you a little bit today about what it takes to obtain a VA loan, some of the advantages of it, and just really give you some great information, some really cool stats that we have uncovered over the years in doing these VA loans. There's over 18 million veterans living in the United States. One thing that is kind of shocking to me is that 1 in 3 veterans are totally unaware of their VA home financing benefits when they're asked. So this is a great opportunity for us to get the word out about some of the things that you can look for when we're talking about some of these benefits. And so basically what we're looking at, a couple of things. Government loans, they're for past and present members of the United States military. There's 100% financing options available. Loan options are up to $2 million with 100% financing. You can go to $1.5 million with 100% loan to value on a cash out refinance loan. Loan options up to $2 million with 90% loan to value. And also we have on the cash out refinance, and we have like really competitive rates. One great thing about VA loans is that the rates are going to probably be in any given day significantly lower than just like a regular conventional conforming loan amount. Another benefit to using your VA loan is that there is no mortgage insurance, and we'll dive into what that exactly means a little bit later on today. But first, I'm going to pass it off to Sam to talk about some of the advantages of doing the VA loan.
Thank you, and good afternoon, and everyone. Thank you for your service. Greatly appreciated. So a bunch of the advantages here that you can take advantage of with your VA loan. First and foremost is your 0% down option. This is one, if not the only product still available that allows you to put $0 down for your down payment. And on top of that, it allows no mortgage insurance, which is definitely a monthly payment savings in your scenario. We don't have any income caps. So for example, on a lot of our programs that can do like a 1% down or a down payment assistance, you cannot make over a certain dollar amount annually. VA loans do not have that. Okay. So you can make an unlimited amount of money and still qualify for a VA loan as long as you have that eligibility from the Veterans Administration. And then generally you are going to need 2 months of liquid reserves left over once you're, for your loan, after your loan is closed. What that means is that if your monthly payment is $2,000, lenders are going to want to see you have at least $4,000 left in your bank account whether that's a savings account, checking, or even a retirement account. So as long as those conditions are met, that definitely is one of the advantages of this program. And again, it's no money down up to $2 million. That is huge. So in anything over $766,250 on the conforming side is what we would call a jumbo loan. Now, there are not very many jumbo loans that will allow you to put down less than 10%. So the VA will actually allow you to do zero down up until a $2 million house. And again, that still would come with no private mortgage insurance. So all you're doing is you're paying your principal and interest and taxes and insurance and your homeowner's insurance on that property. And then if you were looking at it on the flip side, if you were doing a conventional loan or a jumbo loan, they would require 20% down in order to avoid that mortgage insurance. So there's, again, another great benefit to you as a veteran that you guys can take advantage of. There's also no prepayment penalties. So if you were to pay this loan off prior to whatever the term was, the 15-year or the 30-year, there's no prepayment penalty. So you're free to pay this off at any point in time with no penalty to you. And actually, once you do that, your VA entitlement gets reinstated. So then you can go out and if you wanted to sell this house or even keep this house as a rental, purchase another one and use that entitlement over again. Couple of benefits as well when you're using the VA, you have what's called a streamlined refinance. So if any point in time interest rates were to drop from where you're locked in currently, generally as long as you have not missed any mortgage payments on that property, we can go ahead and get that rate lowered for you and make this a very quick process. I mean, generally that'll take like 30 days. It's sending out the loan application, having you sign it, and then getting that refinance done and lowering your rate and payment. VA also allows for you to do a cash out refinance. So if you currently either have a veteran's loan or do not, and wanted to be able to take equity out of your house, whether that's to purchase another property or to use to pay down debt or what have you, you can take that equity out using the VA loan. And that also goes up to 100% financing, which is unheard of in the business. Because right now, if you were doing a conforming loan, the max is going to be 80%. Okay. And on a conforming loan, if you do a cash out refinance, your interest rate would be higher than if you were doing a purchase. Whereas on the veteran side, the rate is not going to be affected by you doing the cash out refinance. Another tremendous benefit to this program. If you're in that scenario where you need to get money out of the house in order to either pay down debt, put a kid in college, or use that to invest.
And Sam, one thing we don't have a slide on is roughly what the rate differential is, at least today, between the, like, say, a 5% down conventional loan and 100% financing for the VA loan. I know you ran it the other day when we were talking about this.
Yeah, it's about 3/4 of a point difference. So let's say, for example, if you were doing 5% down on a conventional loan, you'd probably be at 7.25%. Whereas on the VA loan, you'd probably be at like 6.5%. So that interest rate savings is huge as well. And again, the reason that the rates are lower is there are no pricing adjustments for this. I mean, these are backed, they're guaranteed by the government. So it allows us to not have those additional overlays and everything that some of the conforming loans will have when it comes to interest rates.
Yeah, so a lot of people will come in and say they want to put down 10% or 20% if they're VA eligible. It still makes a lot of sense to go with VA loan over a regular conventional conforming loan a lot of the time. So we're going to talk a little bit about VA eligibility and who exactly is eligible for a VA loan. So the first three categories that are listed here are veteran and spouse, and veteran and a veteran purchasing together. Those three categories will all allow for the 100% financing. When you have a veteran and a non-veteran, you can definitely do that with 100% financing as well. But if you're a veteran and you're non-veteran or not married, let's say, then there's going to be a caveat for down payment requirement. So if you have a veteran who's purchasing with a fiance, not married yet, or a significant other, there is going to be a caveat for a 12.5% down payment. A good distinction that I do find that most people purchasing with VA don't know about. One way we sometimes get around that is to still do the 100%, just do it in veteran's name alone. If there is a borrowing non-veteran, non-spouse. Also, one nice thing with VA is that there is an option to have the surviving unremarried surviving spouse may be eligible as well. There's quite a bit more paperwork that goes into figuring out if they are eligible. We do collect a few bits of paperwork, including some VA forms specifically, some documentation from the deceased spouse. But the great thing about the way the systems work now is that it's all done through a VA portal, and the process is a lot faster than it was even a couple of years ago, which is really great, which leads me into the next piece. The certificate of eligibility. It's probably one of the most important pieces that we need in determining eligibility. It will tell us how much entitlement someone has. It will tell us if they have ever used the VA loan previously, because that does change things in terms of cost for the VA mortgage. It will tell us if they are exempt from the VA funding fee. So lots of important details that will pull up on that. And one thing that we can tell you is that you definitely can go direct to the VA website and get this form yourself. Sometimes they require you to send in some paperwork. Sometimes it takes a little longer for them to pull it for you. But if you apply online with us, where we just do a soft pull credit check, so we're not even doing a hard pull credit check, you fill out a little bit of information about your dates of service and which branch of service you were in, and then it will just automatically pull it through our system for you. We have a VA bot that's just attached to our system, and it communicates with the VA portal and pulls it for you. So that's a really great thing to have. I will say, whatever is on this form is not necessarily set in stone. So if something is happening in your situation during your process of either pre-approval or obtaining the house, we do have the opportunity to update this form, which is really important because I'll just give a quick example. I recently had a client who was in the process of separating from the service. He was literally on his way out. So we didn't currently have anything to show that he was separated from service. On top of that, he was in the process of getting his disability rating, and that wasn't showing up either. So during this whole time, we were able to get the certificate of eligibility updated actually twice with VA, and it took less than I would say 12 hours. It was like a half day. They were able to get back to us just through the portal messages and everything. So actually really easy to work with when it comes to the home loan, home mortgage process and lending and everything. One question we do get asked about a lot is property type. So what kind of properties can be financed? Obviously, single family home, a multi-unit up to 4 units, a townhouse, and then condos. Condos are a little different, and that goes for all types of financing, not just VA, but the condos actually have to be VA approved. So there is on the website an actual like database for every city, every county, every state. And you can actually look up any condo project that you're interested in and see if they are eligible for VA. Now, if there's something on there that says it's expired or the condo didn't renew their VA eligibility, it's usually fairly easy for us to help get that renewal process started. We just need a contact at the HOA, whether you're looking at a listing, you're thinking of listing a property, or you are looking to purchase. We also can do a full condo approval with VA. It just means that instead of that 30-day closing Sam mentioned in the very beginning, we're looking at maybe a 60-day closing because we need a little bit of extra time to collect some documentation and those sorts of things. So that's just a little bit about property type. There's a lot that we're going to cover today. We only have a finite amount of time. And so I just want to reiterate what Jen said in the beginning, which is if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to any one of us. We're more than happy to help you, and everyone's situation is obviously unique. So we are going to dive into VA loan options, and just going over, sorry, I'm going backwards. Use your error. A quick mention on loan types. Most mortgages are 30-year amortization, so a 30-year term. That would tie into your 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And on VA, there's also a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage. So it is fixed for 5 years, and then it is amortized over a 30-year period. And then after year 5 is done, it will adjust annually. There are also 20 and 15-year fixed rate mortgages. I will say hands down the most popular mortgage, not even just right now, I think throughout my 20+ year career in doing mortgages is still going to be that 30-year fixed, because as Sam mentioned earlier, we have the ability to do the interest rate reduction loans where we just collect a little bit of information from you. Rate has to be a certain percentage point underneath where you're currently at, and we can do that interest rate reduction loan. So there's a bunch of different types of products you can do. Purchase, we can do refinance loans, just a rate and term refinance loan, and then of course that cash out refinance loan that Sam had mentioned earlier. So there's a lot of different types of programs and products that we can take a look at when it comes to utilizing your VA eligibility. And so one thing I do want to mention that makes the VA loan a little bit different from a regular conventional conforming loan, that makes it a little bit different from, let's just say, an FHA loan, which is another government-backed loan through the Federal Housing Authority. So basically what we're looking at here on this chart is all branches of service. So no matter what branch of service you were in, the funding fee is the same. It is categorized by your down payment and if you've ever used it. So your funding fee first use, and then any other time after that, if you were to just do a regular refinance, if you were to purchase a new property, you would have a different funding fee than that first use. One thing I also do want to mention is that you can only have, in theory, one VA loan at a time, but there are circumstances in which you can use more entitlement to have a second VA loan at the same time if you are, say, vacating an existing property and selling it after you move into the new one. You just wouldn't have as much entitlement, so might require some more down payment. But that's where that subsequent use comes in. So as you can see on this chart also, the more you put down, the lower your funding fee is. One thing I do want to point out is that the funding fee is waived for anybody who has a service-connected disability or has received the Purple Heart. So if you are in that category and that's not showing up on your certificate of eligibility, we can help you get that updated. That is something that we have had to help people get updated before. So these are your VA funding fees on just a regular purchase transaction. Then you have your VA funding fees on a refinance transaction. And there's two types of refinances. You have that interest rate reduction one that Sam mentioned earlier, and that funding fee is significantly lower because what the government is looking at is they want to make sure that there is a really good benefit to you as the consumer in order to lower your interest rate. So lowering it by, let's say, 0.5 point, you're not paying that full funding fee again. You're only going to be paying 0.5%. And then when you're looking at that cash out refinance, there's that first time use is going to be lower. So let's just say you purchased your home initially and you did a conventional loan, or you did an FHA loan, or maybe you just paid cash, but now you want to do a VA loan and you're going to use it for the first time. You're going to pay that lower funding fee on the mortgage. The next section, we're going to talk a little bit about a roadmap to successful VA loan, and I'm going to have Sam take it away on this section.
Yeah, so in order to kind of get your process going, the first thing you always want to do is, make sure you're qualified for what you're looking for, right? We're going to call that establishing your purchase power. And that's really just getting pre-approved, right? Where we're going to look at your credit, your income, your assets, and making sure that you're able to qualify for the home that you're looking for at the price that you're looking for. So that's always going to be step one in that process. And we do make that easy. We do have an online application. We call it our digital mortgage. Takes about 7 to 10 minutes to complete. And then actually will allow you to upload any documentation that we would need to see. So in these cases, it's going to be pay stubs, bank statements, W-2s, that DD-214, in order for us to go through and make sure that everything kind of works out for you here in that first step. And then I kind of just went over, kind of just went over the income that we would need. I'm sorry, the documentations that we would need. It's a certificate of eligibility, which we will pull on our end. If we do have trouble pulling that, we will get you the necessary documents to fill out in order for those to be sent back. And then we'll send that directly to the VA, and then they'll send us a certificate of eligibility. Your 2 years of W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns, if we need them. Generally, we're only going to need to see tax returns if you're a self-employed borrower. If on your credit report there was any bankruptcies in the last 7 years, we are going to need to see those as well as if you are divorced, we are going to need to see that as well to make sure if you're paying alimony or child support. We would have to count that against you if those are things. And conversely, if you're receiving child support or alimony, we can use that as long as there's going to be a guaranteed continuance for a minimum of 3 years. Then your next step is to find a real estate agent. That's where Jen would come in. So she would be the next step once you're pre-approved. You would talk to Jen. You know, if you're looking within the states that she's licensed in, she can definitely help you find a home. If not, I know she has a vast network of agents throughout the country that she can refer you to. So you'll definitely be in good hands with whoever she decides to send those to or send you to going forward. Then once you're under contract, then that's when we get our full application in. That's when we're going to take your application and all the documents that you've submitted, send those to underwriting, get the appraisal ordered, and then also start to work with our title companies in order to get you, to ensure a smooth transaction. One of the things on the VA loans, when you are purchasing the property, really under the appraisal section, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the house is in livable and sanitary condition. So when we're doing a VA loan, the appraisers do look at different things than you would if it was a conventional loan. So some items to kind of take a look at when you're in the property, make sure there's no missing handrails, chipping or peeling paint, no mold, no cracked windows. If you do see those, it's not a deal killer, but you would have to go back to the seller to have those fixed prior to closing. There are certain items that can be done after closing, but those are going to be what we would call an escrow holdback. Those are going to be on a case-by-case basis. For example, if you're purchasing a property in Illinois and it's January and you're closing and there's a cracked front step that can't be replaced, then we can still close, but we're going to require the seller to hold back that money, usually at like 1.5 to 2 times whatever the estimate was. And then once that is completed, then they'll release that money back to pay for the work, and then whatever's left will go back to the seller. So there are a couple of different things that can happen afterwards, but they are going to be case by case. Then once we've got all that information through and it's gone through underwriting the first time, you'll get what's called a conditional loan approval. And that's basically going to say you are approved, but the underwriter wants to see X, Y, Z. And X, Y, Z could be anything from an updated bank statement to an updated pay stub. Usually is going to be a minor condition in there, but there are certain things that they are going to require in order to get what we would get a final approval. And then once you have your final approval, you can call your movers. Generally, we suggest calling the movers prior to final approval because sometimes that doesn't come in until, week, 10 days before, let's say. So you want to get that stuff all up and running. But again, we're here to make the process easy. both Joanne and I have been doing this for 22, 23 plus years at this point. We've done a substantial amount of loans for veterans and VA loans. So we have the knowledge and we have the ability to get everything through. And then one thing that I'm assuming is going to be mentioned next too, to keep in mind, all our veterans loans, all our lender fees are waived. Okay. So there's no lender fee. That's a $1,490 savings. If you go through Proper Rate and Joanne and I to get your home loan. And then I'll turn it back over to Joanne.
All right, well, Sam did mention that we have a very easy digital mortgage. On here we put 20 minutes, but like he said, it's really probably closer to 7 to 10 minutes. And what's great, one of the changes that we did make this past year was instead of doing a hard pull credit check, we actually do a soft pull credit check, which means that we do get the scores. We do get the list of debts, which is important. But let's just say your score is a little lower than maybe where you thought it would be or where you would want it to be. That gives us an opportunity to help you get your credit score up while you're still shopping for a home. So there's a lot that we can do with that soft pull credit check that's actually to your advantage as the consumer. And so that's part of the digital mortgage process. During that process, you actually can upload your documents, and like everything's digital. Everything is pretty streamlined. And when you are under contract, you would actually sign your loan documents digitally as well. You actually will be getting an automated underwriting approval immediately as well. Like as soon as we see that notification come in that you have applied for a mortgage, we are working on it right away, running it through the automated underwriting system, issuing a pre-approval if everything looks great. One thing I do want to mention that I do think is super important in an environment where there isn't a lot of inventory out there. It's kind of been the theme of the last year. We do anticipate hopefully 2024 will be a little bit more of inventory, and this is something that you would talk to Jen about too when the time comes. But one thing that really helps when you are trying to negotiate, let's just say you're in a multiple offer situation, if you have a pre-approval that actually says your loan's already been fully underwritten by an underwriter, so that's us doing everything we just mentioned, plus collecting some documents, having our underwriter take a look at it, issuing the certificate for our power bid fully underwritten pre-approval, it really helps with the negotiating power. So terms are obviously important. Do you have a home to sell is another important thing that the seller is looking at. But if you've already been through the underwriting process and now you pretty much only need the home insurance, title from the seller, and an appraisal, it really helps with that negotiating. And it also gives us the ability to close a little bit quicker if you need to as well. So if the seller needs to close in 2 or 3 weeks, we usually can accommodate that. Even on a VA loan, just the one component is everything is third party that we're waiting for at that point in time. So we can move things along quickly on our end. And then also just talking about a few competitive advantages when we're talking about Proper Rate and what we're able to offer. Everything's done internally. So it's Sam and I that are the ones that are helping you through the process. We have this great team of individuals who are very well versed in VA loans. But the important thing is that we have in-house underwriting and closing. The money is wired from our bank for closing. Our turnaround times are lightning fast, and we have all of the product offerings that are available out there when it comes to, well, all the mortgages, but specifically we're talking about the VA loans right now. So we have access to everything as a mortgage lender who does everything internally. And then I know Sam, of course, did mention that for veterans, we do waive the lender fees. Our lender fees are already low to begin with, which is great, but we do waive them for all of our veterans. And then just reminder that we are here and available to you for anything that you may need. And I know that, like, Sam mentioned about Jen having this vast network of people she can connect you with if it's outside of where she's licensed. Sam and I are personally licensed in 18 states. And so if you're looking in a state in which we're not licensed, we can refer you to somebody as well that will be able to help you. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Jen.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sam and Joanne. You guys presented a wealth of information about this benefit. You guys, it's something that you have earned through your service. And so now you've got some information on how to start the process, about how do you get that certificate of eligibility, things you should be looking for, questions and things to talk to your lender about. If you have a realtor and if you need a realtor, I should say, reach out to me, even if I'm not in your state. Like Sam and Joanne mentioned, we've got such an incredible network of top-notch agents across the globe. And so I'm here to be a resource. I will get you connected and I will be there with you on your journey. And also, please reach out to Sam and Joanne. As Joanne mentioned, they're personally licensed in 18 states, but they also have a network of top-notch professionals that they're working with across the country too. So we're here to help no matter where you are. We've got you covered. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to make this available too for people. So if you have a friend who has served who is not able to participate today live, the information is here. We'll push it out to everybody so you can share that with anyone else that might be curious about this benefit. Again, it's a competitive rate, as Sam mentioned, about 0.75% difference in that particular scenario. Obviously, I'm a lawyer, so I just have to say this. Every scenario is different, but again, it's competitive. It's also a way for you to have a more negotiating power, as mentioned earlier. So tap into this. If you have questions, again, we're here for you. And thank you again so much for joining us today.